Meet Tony Khan, a sheltered manchild who grew up in an ivory tower and was set for life before he could even say his first comment. Love that for him. No judgment. You can't pick your circumstances, and fate was very kind to Anthony. Anyway, this is what Tony Khan grew up to be. A wrestling promoter. A pretty successful one at that. But this is the picture I choose because it captures the essence of who and what he is. Tony Khan is a coward. Anti-authority Anthony is an anti-confrontational people pleaser with no sense of control or dominion whatsoever. As a result, he's constantly bullied and taken advantage of by wrestlers, competitors, and fanatics. Here, Tony Khan has completely shut down. He's helpless to stop a diabolical CM Punk shoot promo in front of the equally terrified wrestling media as Punk airs his grievances with Tony Khan's upstart company. Between the fans in the building, the fans in the presser, and Tony Khan himself, you would never be able to point out who has any stroke in AEW. Because as far as authority goes, Tony Khan and his fan base are one and the same. Today, we're going to talk about Tony's anti-authority approach to pro wrestling and why listening to fans is a terrible strategy to run a wrestling business, despite how warm and fuzzy that may sound on its face. Subscribe and Shangani. Like most promoters, Tony Khan grew up as a fan of professional wrestling. Unlike most promoters, he never grew out of being a fan. Tony Khan is still the exact same human burner account he was as a teenager because as a rich kid and a product of a billion-dollar family fortune, he never really needed to evolve into a self-serving adult, and that whole process of finding out who he was kind of stunted. Sure, he loved wrestling, but that just meant when he, quote, grew up, he could play with real-life action figures all while obsessing over Twitter. Is that any different from the wealthy wrestling fan who attended ECW shows as a child? The closest Tony Khan gets to being the adult in the room is wearing his big boy suit at those fake press conferences. Tony Khan co-produced a Dean event in honor of the late Dean Rasmussen, the founder of Death Valley Driver Video Review and a staple of the hardcore internet wrestling community. No smoke there, but it points to just how much Tony Khan was raised online. Tony Khan is in these internet wrestling streets in ways I don't think anybody will ever really understand. Tony Khan's childhood was like Mowgli in the Jungle Book, but if he was raised by a pack of trolls. Which, to be fair, message boards are filled with wild animals, so Tony's upbringing is exactly like the Jungle Book. The bare necessity of leadership is having a backbone, but Tony changing his mind to accommodate strangers on the internet is sheer con. To say Tony Khan is no different from the average wrestling fan would be a reach, because he's no different from the most hardcore and deranged edgelords with several burner accounts. Mowgli Khan is one of them. When he was producing the May 14th Dynamite, Tony Khan tried out some new music for Mina Shirakawa. An executive decision. Unfortunately, Khan abruptly changed it back less than 20 minutes later after Mina won her match. What prompted the change in the middle of a live show? Deep reflection, an executive meeting with his team of producers whom he pays for their countless years of experience in the wrestling business? Any input from Mina? Patience, reevaluation, and feedback from real-life fans after a few weeks? Nope. Just good old-fashioned internet wrestling backlash. They say listen to the fans long enough and you'll be sitting with them. And that's exactly what happened on May 14th with Tony Twitterfingers literally sitting with his sickos during a live taping of Dynamite. What?
Ricochet has a tweet. He wants you to read it?
No, man, I'm busy. Tell him to go away. Look, the viewership went down the second you said his name. Just like this week when his 2 segments at Fyter Fest lost a combined 108,000 total viewers.
He really wants you to see these tweets. He says it's important.
Okay, show me the tweet. Hurry, the ratings are plummeting. All right, I'll read this in my uncharismatic Ricochet voice. I remember when, Tony changed Mina's music back to her original music and the fans shit on him saying, Tony lets the fans make decisions. But now when an entire company hires someone back, it's, we got worked. Ha ha, a bunch of mental patients. End of tweet. So So WWE leadership made the decision to rehire R-Truth after a week of real-life chants of "We Want Truth" from real-life paying customers in actual sold-out WWE buildings, and Twitter Ricky is comparing that to Tony Khan panicking after 20 minutes of outrage from Twitter trolls and sickos on the white man's internet? Man, if you don't get this beige ratings killer off my YouTube channel. Tony Khan was shoved into a South African locker on Twitter and bullied into changing Mina Shirakawa's theme music at the threat of make-believe online outrage. Such a coward. Some idiots celebrate Tony Khan because Mowgli the Jungle Booker runs his company by listening to the fans. To me, that's complete bullshit. Some of the greatest moments in wrestling history happen in spite of what fans think. Wrestling fans are the lifeblood of the business. Selling tickets and drawing money all comes down to what fans want to see. But that doesn't automatically mean fans always know what's good for them. At one point, fans rejected Roman Reigns, but WWE didn't fire Reigns after one theme song because of internet outrage. They pushed, they pulled, they tweaked, turned him heel, and over the course of 6 years, Roman Reigns has become one of WWE's biggest stars. Imagine that. Remember when a vocal minority started to boo John Cena and threw Twitter temper tantrums whenever John Cena won, LOL? They begged Vince to turn Cena heel. WWE didn't panic. They looked at merch sales and live event tickets and all the kids who weren't sitting on a laptop, but instead were standing in line, waiting to buy a John Cena hat or t-shirt. Armed with facts and statistics, WWE figured, as polarizing as John Cena's reactions are, years of market research is telling us that nothing's broke. So there's no need to fix it. There's no need to listen to fans because these fans are a small subsection of angry adults who will never be happy. That's not to say only industry plants get over in this business and the authority is always right. WWE wanted nothing to do with Daniel Bryan as a top star, let alone a WrestleMania main eventer. The Yes Movement is a legendary story where fans refused to take no for an answer until WWE had no choice but to listen to sustained, real-life reactions to Daniel Bryan's push and just say yes. CM Punk didn't represent the clean-cut yet drug-addled, muscle-bound wrestler who's typically hand-picked by the office. Punk's journey was more grassroots and really took off with a worked shoot promo by Punk about how he wasn't as prioritized by WWE as golden boys like John Cena and The Rock. It worked. The pipe bomb made CM Punk into a folk hero and a top star to this day. Pro wrestling is an intricate dance between promoters and fans. Both the office and the customer can be stubborn in deciding what's best for business. And historically, stubbornness on either side has won out. For every Roman Reigns, there's a Daniel Bryan. For every John Cena, there's a CM Punk. Sometimes the promoter forces an industry plant on fans and it doesn't work at all, like Vladimir Kozlov. Sometimes fans force an internet darling on the promoter and it doesn't work at all, like Low-Key. Sometimes an industry plant falls flat on his face time and again, so the office gets a little frisky and sends him into social media disguised as an internet darling, and it works, like Karrion Kross. Everybody wins. I have a video all about that right here. Point is, stubbornness is the main ingredient to some of the most important decisions in wrestling. Conviction is key, and Tony Khan has no such conviction. Tony Khan listening to fans isn't the flex he thinks it is. He's not listening to fans, he's kowtowing to the batshit comment section, which houses the worst kind of fan. Tony Khan putting his own authority up for grabs on Twitter is like a parent saying, well, my 6-year-old wanted to go for a walk by himself at 3 o'clock in the morning in downtown Compton. And as a father, who was I to say no? I give my kids what they want. I listen to my children. That's my impression of the parent explaining himself to Child Protective Services before they took his damn kids away. Happy Father's Day, Glenn. Tony Khan making such a snap decision about theme music isn't the end of the world, but it is the continuation of a theme that has plagued Tony Khan dating back to AEW's downturn, which started at this very moment. I've already met Tony Khan. In this video, we've reacquainted with CM Punk. In this famous shoot promo at All Out, CM Punk emasculated Tony Khan at a press conference. This was a culmination of weeks of backstage issues between Punk and the Elite, and not once did Tony Khan do anything to intervene. Tony Khan didn't handle this situation like a boss or an executive, he handled it like a fan. As a result, things escalated to the point where CM Punk lost his fucking shit on a live stream. Everybody was certain this was going to be the end of CM Punk in AEW. It wasn't. Not only was CM Punk not fired, he was rehired by Tony Khan and given his own show. Less than 1 month later, after a Twitter beef between Andrade and Sammy Guevara, Tony Khan did nothing to prevent the two from an on-site brawl before Dynamite, even though everybody saw it coming from 100 tweets away. Andrade and Guevara weren't even scared of any consequences from Tony Khan because there basically were none. Hell, maybe they were trying to get their own show. After CM Punk's second stint in AEW predictably flamed out with another brawl, this time with Jack Perry, Tony Khan admitted to fearing for his life during the brief fisticuff where he was barely even touched. AEW announcer and pro wrestling genius Jim Ross has admitted Tony Khan can be too friendly. Tony Khan's public persona is as a spineless, real-life Twitter troll with money. Somebody who's most confident behind a keyboard. Most people think Tony Khan is on drugs, on the spectrum, lacks authority, or a combination of all three. So when Tony Khan not only listened to the comments, but panicked and changed his mind midway through a live show because of them, it was more evidence of a bumbling boss who lets the incels run the asylum just as quickly as the inmates. Everybody gets to run AEW except Tony Khan. Next Wednesday, whoever goes the longest without bathing gets to be guest GM. Spoiler alert, it's Bix. Tony Khan overvalues the shit-posting opinions of cyberbully psychopaths. That's not listening to fans. That's conceding your influence to complete lunatics. It's not magnanimous. For an executive, it's lazy. It's not standing on business. It's refusing to make tough and unpopular decisions that you believe in. It's directionless, and it goes against everything being a president, CEO, and most importantly, a leader stands for. Leaders are not embraced for their popularity. They're celebrated for the moments when they succeed in the face of being unpopular. And as an authority figure, Tony Khan stands for absolutely nothing. Check out this video and subscribe. Should Tony Khan keep listening to trolls or nah? Tell me in the comments!